versus Canelo Alvarez is less than 2 weeks away, and man, am I excited! I'm not gonna lie, guys. Going into this fight, breaking down this fight, looking at this fight when it first got announced, I really didn't fuck with Terrence Crawford, and that's just because I felt like with the Errol Spence win, obviously a great dominant performance, but I felt like people were riding the wave a little bit. But when you look at Terrence Crawford and you actually dissect the skills and look at every punch, slow things down, look at the footwork, I see great things. I see a technical fighter who comes in a fight with a game plan, who executes. And I actually recorded this video already for like 40 minutes, bro. I was yapping because I was on Canelo Alvarez winning this fight. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm on Terrence Crawford. I think Terrence Crawford could pull it off. I think he has the skill set to pull it off. I'll go over the game plan to beat a fighter like Canelo Alvarez, just because the way Canelo has lost due to the multiple times in his career have been really the same way, in the same game plan. And that same game plan is something I see Terrence Crawford use in most of his fights, and is a game plan that I think he is going to use during this fight. As you see, we're watching Madrimov here. It's a similar game plan. Fight. And this is an important fight to look at. This is his first fight at 154, and he had problems at the start, but Madrimov, being a fighter that is very just super awkward, a lot of feints, a lot of movement, a lot of head movement, a lot of level changes. Just you're seeing a lot of things from Madrimov, but doing a good job in staying composed and firing back his own shots. You see, at times, he's not only backing him up, but he's backing up Madrimov, and he's standing his ground, which is good to see. Especially a fighter that can be tricky when he's applying pressure. I think sometimes Terrence Crawford could be left open and get hit with super clean shots. We've seen him get hurt in the past. But Canelo is the type of fighter that if you come in with the right game plan, you could shut down his offense. And that's every time he has lost, it's always been like that, where he's his offense is just shut down. And I think Terrence Crawford could do that. Let's get into this game plan though. The game plan I'm talking about is kind of like Bivol's game plan. You kind of want to, in Canelo, who is a pressure fighter, and counters at times, you want to outpace him, and that's whether throwing jabs, kind of like Terrence is doing here, doubling up on things, just keeping a high pace throughout the rounds. And what I notice in Crawford too is, as he's keeping a high pace, he's doing counters as well. So he's throwing first, and if you throw back, he's landing last. And that is beautiful to see. That's actually the perfect setup to fight someone like a Canelo Alvarez, who is a counter puncher. It's a beautiful setup, bro. And what I noticed from Terrence Crawford, he's, again, super technical, but he works the jab immediately. Works the jab, and once he feels that he finds his timing, then he gets his over-aggression. I would consider him a aggressive fighter. I would. Man, I understand he's going up 2 weight classes, going up to 168. It's a heavy weight, but you also look at Canelo. For 168, man, I mean, he's the smallest out. I feel like out of every 168 fighter, fighting someone with a frame like Canelo is perfect if you're moving up in weight and used to the weight. You know what I'm saying? He's not particularly big for 168. He's not small either, but he's not insanely big. Him and Terrence Crawford are the same height, being 5'8". Yeah, it's just something I feel like weight can be a factor in this fight, but not as much as people, I think, are discussing about. And like I said with Canelo, all his pretty much losses with Triple G, Floyd, Bivol, every game plan for those fighters was always to throw first and to land the cleaner punches. And against the Canelo, you can't do that. I understand he has nice counters, like a pullback counter, nice head movement. But with Terrence Crawford, I really don't think he's going to go in there head hunting for 12 rounds. I know he's going to dig to the body. I know he's going to be on the back foot. And I know he's going to try to outpace Canelo Alvarez. And that's, to me, in my head, is the perfect game plan against a fighter like Canelo. Is good at cutting off the ring, but can be outpaced. Like I said, at times Canelo can take rounds off. He can have a slow start. And I just don't see him picking up that timing on someone like Terrence Crawford. And I don't even like to bring up a fight like Errol Spence and Crawford, just because I know Errol Spence isn't nowhere near the level of a Canelo Alvarez. But just seeing what Crawford was throwing and the combos he was throwing that fight, staying on the back foot, staying patient, using catching counters when he was seeing the shots, he found his timing in 2 rounds. So it's like, what makes me think against a Canelo Alvarez who can be very predictable at times with his combos, which is true. Like, bro, at times you'll see Canelo for 3 rounds throw the same combo straight, whether it's ending off in an overhand or ending off in a lead hook to the body or face. Like, sometimes Canelo can be predictable, and with a high pace, like I said, you could slow down his offense and just make it even better for Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford too, super defensive though. Like, and he has one of those guards where he's just gonna cover up and eat the shot. And again, like, I understand Canelo, you know, he has this power, definitely can hurt Crawford, but with Crawford being defensive minded and knowing how to pivot out, knowing when to keep his high guard, can switch between a Philly shell as well. That's another thing. Canelo Alvarez in the past, I mean, has troubled with Philly shell opponents. I don't know, man. I feel like Terrence Crawford has the tool set and everything in his arsenal to win this fight. And he definitely can. He definitely can. If he puts on the right game plan, which he has done multiple fights, 100% he can. And especially if he's used to that weight, 168. I assume he's sparring with heavier fighters. He sparred with probably heavier fighters in the past. If you see him round 1 and he still has that speed and he's throwing jabs out there and you see him running around landing combos here and there, just know Terrence Crawford is going to coast his way to a decision. It's just true. With Canelo Alvarez, I see multiple things in this game that is wrong. Again, he is a great fighter, but you look at his last 5 opponents. I mean, dude, fighters like William Skull, Edgar Berlanga, Jaime Mungo did the best. He was pushing them back, throwing multiple punches per round, and being defensive to where everything was just hitting the gloves. And like I said, Canelo, who throws wide shots, wide hooks to the body, overhands, you just shell up and you could eat those shots. Terrence Crawford, I think he has the defense to do that. Now, of course, there's things that Canelo does well, and that is pressuring good. But like I said, at the same time, Terrence Crawford is well on the back foot. Canelo is good at being patient, but again, I think that is a downside in Terrence Crawford taking those early rounds. I think Terrence Crawford will take those first 4 rounds. He'll be up by at least 3-1, I think. I know he's going to come out more aggressive. I know he's going to come out on the back foot, and I know he's going to come out punching, whether they are significant like strikes or not. I think he's going to be the more active one in those rounds. Then when it gets on to the later rounds, obviously you have to be careful with Canelo's power. But I think at that time, Terrence will have the timing down, and as well as the defensive knowledge to know what he's going to throw. Canelo could be a tricky fighter because he throws shots that are sometimes just insanely untelegraphed. But I think in that, if Terrence Crawford is responsible enough, which I think he will be, I think he could find a win here, man. And I don't think it'll be by knockout. Maybe he can get the knockout. I'm telling you, Terrence Crawford, his accuracy is another thing that I really like. But I think he'll coast his way to a decision. I think so, man. And I was on Canelo. I was making a 40-minute video how I thought Canelo was gonna win, but something switched in my mind where when I was watching the footage that I was watching with Madrimov and a couple other fights before the Errol Spence fight, um, it really changed my mind. And I'm knowing now that Canelo, there is one game plan to beat him, and some fighters are able to do it. I think Terrence Crawford is that fighter that is going to be able to do it. Like I said, there's factors in this fight that is scary for Terrence Crawford. Sometimes he has defensive problem, and his chin, honestly, I wouldn't rate his chin at all. I feel like if Canelo hits him with a clean shot, we might see Terrence Crawford flatline, and I'm not joking about that. But man, I think he's super defensive though. And if I'm gonna bet on anyone, if I'm gonna choose anybody to win, I'm gonna choose somebody with a better game plan and who is more technical. And I know it seems crazy to say, but I think Crawford can be more technical and have a better game plan, as well as fighting well on the back foot and front foot to win a decision. I really do. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said, there is ways Canelo can win, but we just gotta see. I don't think he can do it. I took in all the fight factors in my head, and I did a lot of thinking. And man, I had Canelo. I really did. But something switched in my mind, and I gotta give respect where respect is due. I think Terrence Crawford is an amazing boxer. I didn't like him at first. I think people were overhyping him with the Errol Spence win. But like I said, if you go and watch Terrence Crawford and you slow down his fights, or you just see the way he talks,